Marcus Hale did not think his day would become the beginning of a diplomatic disaster. He was only a junior engineer, the kind of person who followed orders, tightened bolts, fixed circuits, and stayed far away from anything that involved royal families or political speeches. But fate did not care about his careful nature. The moment the human diplomatic ship landed on the bright world of Astraelion, trouble began searching for him like a heat-seeking missile. Astraelion was beautiful in a strange and overwhelming way. The buildings looked like giant crystals growing out of the ground. The air shimmered with soft blue light. Even the breeze sounded musical, as if tiny bells were hiding inside it. Marcus had stared for too long, earning a playful nudge from his teammate, Jenna. She told him to close his mouth before he swallowed a glowing bug. He followed the human delegation to the royal palace, which was much larger and brighter than anything he had ever seen. Tall crystal towers reflected light in swirling patterns, making the whole place feel alive. Marcus was not supposed to talk to anyone important. His job was to fix the translation node in the main hall. The device made sure human speech sounded correct in Australian language. It was old, a little rusty, and famous for misbehaving. The palace guards led him to the glowing pillar that housed the translation system. He knelt beside it, opening his toolkit and trying not to feel nervous. He could see the human diplomats greeting Australian officials in the distance. Everything looked formal, calm, and serious. And then he saw her. Princess Vieira entered the hall like a drifting beam of light. Her skin shone softly like polished crystal. Her eyes shifted colors with every blink. Blue, silver, violet, calm, yet curious. The whole room bowed, even the humans. Marcus quickly ducked his head too, nearly dropping a screwdriver. Vieira spoke with a gentle voice that vibrated like music. "Welcome, visitors from Earth. May your time here be peaceful and bright." Marcus did not think she would look in his direction. He was only an engineer, after all, nearly hidden behind the translation pillar. But she noticed him, of course she did. Maybe it was because he was the only one not dressed in fine clothes. Or maybe it was because he was fumbling with a mass of loose wires, like a man wrestling a metal snake. She walked closer. Marcus tried to act calm, but his fingers became clumsy. He accidentally pulled the wrong circuit, and the translation node crackled dangerously. A sparkling pulse of energy shot upward, making Marcus flinch. Princess Vieira tilted her head. "Are you well, human engineer?" Marcus panicked for a second, then forced a friendly smile he hoped looked normal. Hi. I'm good. Just trying to fix this thing." Gone. But the device was still malfunctioning. The lights on the panel flickered wild colors. The translation software was half active, half corrupted, and fully confused. When Marcus spoke, the device caught his voice, twisted it, amplified it, and projected something entirely different into the grand hall. A deep, poetic declaration in Australian romantic language. Every Australian froze. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Marcus blinked in confusion. Did I say something wrong? Human diplomats stared at him with horror. Australian nobles stared at him with shock. The guards tightened their hands on their weapons. And Princess Vieira blushed. It was a glowing blush. Soft pink spreading across her shimmering skin. One of the human diplomats hurried to him, whispering in a voice that sounded like someone fighting a heart attack. "Marcus, do you have any idea what you just said?" He stared back helplessly. "I just said hi." "No," the diplomat hissed. The translation node turned it into a formal romantic courtship vow. "You basically told the princess you want to bind souls with her." Marcus's mouth fell open. "I what?" Before he could explain, Princess Vieira stepped closer. Her voice was soft, almost shy. "Human Marcus, your words were bold and full of spirit. Few would dare speak such poetry directly to me." He raised both hands quickly. No, no, no. I didn't, but the translation node was still broken. His desperate words came out as another romantic line, this time even more dramatic than the first one. The Australians gasped. A few whispered that humans were far more passionate than expected. Someone in the back actually clapped. Marcus's face turned bright red. Oh, come on. Human diplomats tried to interfere, but Australian tradition was strict. If someone offered a royal courtship vow even by accident, the princess had the right to respond immediately. And if she accepted, things became public, binding, and nearly impossible to escape without causing political flames. Valera looked at Marcus with a mix of curiosity and wonder. Humans are said to be brave. But I did not expect one to court me on the very first meeting. I'm not brave, I'm confused. Marcus insisted. But the machine translated it as I fear nothing. My heart burns for you. Marcus slapped his palm to his face. The hall filled with whispering voices. The nobles leaned forward. The guards stiffened, unsure if they had just witnessed a sacred tradition or a strange comedy. Princess Valera placed a hand over her heart in the Australian gesture of acceptance. Her voice echoed through the hall with calm certainty. I accept your courtship, human Marcus. Marcus felt the ground drop from under him. The human diplomats looked ready to faint. And somewhere deep inside the palace, Marcus was almost sure someone rang celebratory bells. Princess Valera smiled at him, warm and sincere. You are my chosen companion. I hope we will learn many things from each other. Marcus swallowed hard. He had come to fix a machine. Now he was accidentally engaged to an alien princess. And his day had only just begun. Princess Valera's announcement spread across the palace like a spark racing through dry leaves. One moment the hall was silent. The next it buzzed with excitement, confusion, and panic. Australian nobles whispered in musical tones. Some delighted, others offended. Human diplomats exchanged looks that ranged from shock to pure despair. And Marcus Hale stood like a man who had been hit by a floating cargo drone. He wanted to deny everything, explain the translation mistake, fix the device, bow, apologize, flee anything. But Australian guards approached him with graceful movements, and one of them spoke with polite firmness. Chosen companion, please follow us. I'm not chosen, Marcus muttered weakly. And I'm not a companion. I'm barely surviving. But the broken translation node continued to betray him. His muttering became a proud declaration about walking fearlessly beside my luminous beloved. The nobles gasped again. Someone sighed dreamily. A human diplomat actually grabbed his own hair. Marcus wanted to scream. The guards guided him to the front of the hall, where Princess Valera waited. She stood tall and calm, glowing softly like polished starlight. When she smiled at him, Marcus felt his knees wobble. Not romantically, more like fear mixed with confusion, mixed with embarrassment. She wasn't just beautiful. She radiated a kind of gentle confidence that made it impossible to be rude, even by accident. Human Marcus, she said warmly, you honor me with your courage. He opened his mouth to correct her, but a human diplomat quickly coughed loudly, a warning. One wrong word could insult the royal family, or worse, start a galaxy-level misunderstanding. Princess Valera gestured toward a side hall. Walk with me. It is custom for those who begin a courtship to speak privately first. Marcus shot a helpless look at the human delegation. They silently mouthed. Just go. Don't make it worse. So he went. The princess led him through shimmering corridors, each one glowing with soft, shifting lights. The palace didn't feel like a building. It felt alive. Even the floor hummed when someone walked across it. Marcus tried to calm his racing thoughts. He needed a plan. He needed logic. He needed a working translator. Valera stopped near a balcony that overlooked the crystal city. Light waves moved across the skyline like gentle tides. She turned to him, studying him with curious eyes. Human Marcus, Tell me truthfully, she said. Was it difficult for you to speak such bold words today? He swallowed hard. Princess, I promise I didn't mean. And then, he remembered. The translation node was still broken. If he spoke too much, things might become worse. He forced a smile that looked nothing like confidence, and everything like a silent scream. It was, complicated. Surprisingly, the princess seemed pleased. I understand. Expressions of the heart often are. Marcus wanted to sink into the ground. She stepped closer, not too close, but enough that he could see the faint glow of her crystal-like skin. I admit, I am fascinated by humans. Your species is unpredictable, emotional, and full of strange bravery. I did not expect to receive a courtship vow today, but fate guides us in its own way. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. Princess, there has been a misunderstanding. She tilted her head. A misunderstanding? Yes, he began carefully, choosing each word slowly. I didn't. But before he could finish, 2 Astrialian attendants arrived in a rush. One bowed deeply, their voice ringing like a soft chime. Princess Vaelira, the council requests your presence. They wish to discuss the human's courtship vow. Marcus winced. Of course they do, he muttered. Vaelira looked troubled. They will not be pleased. Many are traditional. Some will resist the idea of a human joining our royal family. She turned back to Marcus and placed a hand lightly against her chest. Do not worry. You will not face them alone. I accepted your vow. Therefore, I stand with you. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. She smiled as if he had complimented her in a poetic way. The attendants led them to a large meeting chamber, and Marcus found himself walking beside the princess like he belonged there. Guards bowed as they passed. Nobles whispered behind crystal walls. News drones drifted overhead, capturing every moment for the planet's networks. I'm going to end up in every broadcast, aren't I? Marcus groaned quietly. Vaelira glanced at him with innocent sincerity. Of course. You are my chosen human. Marcus almost tripped. Inside the council chamber, the atmosphere was tense. The room was shaped like a glowing circle, with 12 Astralian elders seated in floating crystal chairs. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were sharp. One elder spoke first. Princess Vaelira, you accepted a human's courtship vow. Why? Another added. Do you understand the political consequences? A third said bluntly, humans are not suitable for royal bonds. Marcus felt insulted, even though he agreed with them. Princess Vaelira stood straight, her voice steady. I accepted because his vow was sincere. He spoke with passion and heart. Humans are a young species, but not a weak one. I believe we should learn from them. Marcus wanted to raise his hand and say, correction. I did not vow anything on purpose. But he kept quiet. His life depended on silence. The council debated for long minutes. Some wanted to postpone the courtship. Some wanted to forbid it. A few surprisingly supported the idea, saying that unity with humans could strengthen interstellar cooperation. Through it all, Vaelira defended Marcus not emotionally, but logically. She explained humanity's achievements, their unpredictable brilliance, and their growing influence in the galaxy. She spoke of Marcus's courage, even though he had done nothing but accidentally flirt with her. Finally, the council reached a temporary decision. The courtship may continue, an elder declared, but it must be observed closely. The human must remain under palace supervision. Marcus's heart dropped. Supervision sounded suspiciously like polite imprisonment. Princess Vaelira gave him an encouraging nod. Do not fear. You will be safe here. Safe was not the word Marcus would have chosen. As they left the chamber, he whispered gently, Princess, you really don't have to defend me like that. She looked at him with soft, glowing eyes. But I want to. You showed me sincerity, even in your confusion. I do not wish to undo something that feels meaningful. Marcus sighed. He needed to tell her the truth soon. But every time he tried, something went wrong. Maybe he needed a functioning translator first. Maybe he needed courage. Maybe he needed a miracle. As they walked down the shining hallways of the palace, Marcus realized something important. The galaxy now believed he was courting an alien princess. And unless he found a way out soon, they might not be wrong for long. Trouble did not arrive with loud alarms or flashing red lights. It arrived quietly, slipping into the edges of the Australian news networks and whispering through diplomatic channels. Marcus did not hear the first rumors, but the palace certainly did. By the time he woke up the next morning in his assigned guest room, large, glowing, and far too fancy for an engineer, the galaxy had already begun arguing about him. He stretched, half hoping yesterday was a strange dream. But when he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was a floating orb, projecting a gentle message. Good morning. Chosen companion Marcus. Breakfast will be served soon. He groaned into his pillow. Why me? A soft knock sounded on the door. When he opened it, 2 palace attendants bowed and guided him to a private dining area. Princess Valera arrived moments later, bright like morning sunlight through crystal. She greeted him with a warm smile that made him nervous all over again. I hope you rested well, she said. Yes. Thank you, Marcus replied, trying to sound calm. He sat stiffly at the table, unsure if he was supposed to eat first or wait for her. Australian customs were confusing, and he didn't want to accidentally ask for marriage again by picking up the wrong spoon. Valera noticed his discomfort. Relax, human Marcus. Today will be simple. I wish to show you my city. He froze mid-sip of alien juice. Your whole city? Yes, she said happily. You are my chosen companion. The people are eager to see you. Marcus nearly choked. Oh, of course they are. But the day did not stay simple for long. The moment they stepped outside the palace, escorted by shining guards, they were met with cheering Australians. Crowds filled the crystal streets, waving glowing ribbons and projecting colorful lights into the air. News drones hovered everywhere, broadcasting Marcus's every move to the entire planet and probably the entire galaxy. Valera waved gracefully. Marcus waved awkwardly, unsure if his smile looked friendly or terrified. Your people seem very excited, Marcus said quietly. Valera nodded. A royal courtship is rare. A courtship with someone from another species is extraordinary. That's one word for it, he muttered. While they walked through the marketplace, where Australian merchants sold shimmering fruits and glowing fabrics, a guard approached with a small communicator crystal. Princess, the guard said, a message from the Interstellar Alliance. They request a private audience due to concerns. Marcus instantly felt uneasy. Concerns never meant anything good. Valera accepted the crystal, and a shimmering hologram appeared in front of them, a representative from a neighboring system. His expression was stiff. Princess Valera, he said formally. We congratulate you on your chosen companion. However, several governments are confused, and others are angered. Marcus frowned. Why angered? The official hesitated. Because, human Marcus, some believe your sudden involvement may shift political balance. Marcus blinked. I'm literally an engineer. I fix things with screwdrivers. I don't shift anything except broken circuits. Valera gave a soft smile. Our traditions give great importance to royal unions. They are seen as alliances, even if the intentions are personal. Before Marcus could process that, the hologram changed again. This time, an alien with dark, scaled skin and fierce amber eyes appeared. The symbol behind him was unmistakable, the emblem of the Zark Dominion. His voice was sharp and cold. Astraelian insults the Dominion with this union. A human? A primitive from the outer systems? This is a mockery. Marcus raised a hand timidly. Hi, I'm right here. The Zark commander glared. Your presence is noted, human. And unwelcome. Valera stepped forward, her tone polite but firm. Commander Drex, your hostility is unneeded. My choice of companion is not a political attack. To you, perhaps. Drex snarled. But to the Dominion, it is a challenge. You unite with a species we consider strategically unpredictable. We will not allow this imbalance. The hologram vanished. Marcus stared at the empty air. Did he just threaten? Us? Over me? Valera nodded slowly. The Zark Dominion watches everything. They often challenge our decisions. Your courtship gives them a new excuse. Marcus leaned on a glowing railing, overwhelmed. This is insane. I'm not special. I'm not powerful. I'm just me. Valera faced him gently. Sometimes, the galaxy changes not because of powerful leaders, but because of ordinary people who end up in extraordinary situations. He sighed. He really didn't want to change the galaxy. He only wanted to fix a broken translator. But the day grew more complicated. Later, as they toured the Astraelian Science District, an alarm echoed through the city. Guards rushed around them, forming a protective circle. A security officer approached Valera with urgency. Princess, we intercepted a suspicious transmission. The source is unknown. It carries the signature of Zark encryption. Marcus tensed. What does it say? The officer looked troubled. It mentions you, human Marcus, and it suggests action against the royal family. Valera's eyes darkened, glowing with cold determination. They dare threaten my people over a misunderstanding? They risk war for pride? Marcus felt a sinking weight in his stomach. This is my fault. No, Valera said firmly. This is their hunger for power. Not yours. She turned to the officer. We need full analysis. Marcus and I will return to the palace. Strengthen security around all borders. When they reached the palace, Marcus was escorted to a communication room filled with holographic screens. Astraelian analysts worked quickly, decoding the intercepted messages. Marcus, trying to be helpful, leaned over one of the consoles. The alien symbols made no sense to him, but he noticed something odd. Wait, he said, pointing. That repeating pattern doesn't look like a command code. It looks like a timestamp. And that symbol here, I've seen something similar in human distress signals. The analysts blinked at him. Valera stepped closer. What does that mean? Marcus thought for a moment. This isn't just a threat. It's a countdown. They're planning something. Soon. The analysts confirmed it within minutes. The Zark Dominion wasn't simply angry, they were preparing to strike. Valera looked at Marcus with calm but intense eyes. You were right. This situation is not simple. But you are part of it now. Marcus gulped. And if we don't stop them? Then the galaxy may face conflict, she said softly. Because someone dared to care about a human. He looked at her, feeling something new mixed with fear responsibility. Princess Valera placed a hand gently on his shoulder, her glow warm and steady. Do not worry, Marcus. We will face this together. And for the first time since this disaster began, Marcus believed her. The Astraelian palace no longer felt calm or musical. The soft humming walls that once glowed like peaceful starlight now pulsed with tense energy. Guards moved quickly through the halls, their crystal armor bright and sharp. Alarms whispered under the surface of the floors. Even the air felt heavier, like it carried worry on every breeze. Marcus Hale stood in the middle of a command room, surrounded by half-circle consoles projecting floating symbols that looked like glowing runes. Dozens of Australian analysts tried to decode the intercepted Zark transmissions, each working faster than the last. Marcus felt small and out of place. A simple engineer caught in something much bigger than him. Princess Valera entered with confident steps, her eyes glowing brighter than before. She carried authority, now calm, strong, and ready to face whatever was coming. When she reached Marcus, her voice softened slightly. "The Council has confirmed it," she said. "The Zark Dominion is preparing an attack." Marcus scratched the back of his neck. "Against Australian? Or against me? Love? Or both?" she replied. "You represent humanity now." Marcus let out a long breath. "I really need to stop accidentally representing things." But the moment for jokes was gone. The room dimmed as a giant hologram appeared above the center table. A map of Australian space. Red warning symbols flashed along the outer borders. An elder general approached them. "Princess, our detection systems have found distortions near the star line. A Zark fleet may be using stealth fields." Marcus's heart dropped. "How soon?" The general hesitated. "Minutes, maybe less." Valera turned to Marcus. "We must act now." He felt his stomach twist. "I'm not a strategist. I'm not a soldier. I fix machines. But you see patterns that others miss," she said gently. "Your idea about the countdown was correct. We need your human perspective. One the hard." Marcus stared at the glowing map. He had studied human military history once, only because an academy instructor forced him. But suddenly bits of that knowledge resurfaced: Earth's old naval tactics, decoy maneuvers, unpredictable strategies. Australians fought with elegance, logic, and precision. Humans fought with chaos, instinct, and wild ideas. Maybe that difference could help. He pointed to the outer border. "You said their ships use stealth? They'll slip in quietly and strike fast. Australians will try to react with calculated moves, which is exactly what the Zark expect. Endway. Endway. Endway." The general frowned. "Then what do you suggest?" Marcus took a deep breath. "We need to surprise them first." Valera leaned closer. "How?" "A decoy," he said. "Something messy. Something they won't predict. You have energy shields that reflect scans, right? And small unmanned ships?" "Yes," the general said slowly. "We use them together," Marcus explained. "We launch a set of decoy ships with shields tuned to mimic Australian capital vessels, but we launch them from different angles, erratically. Like a human attack wave from ancient Earth." The general blinked. "Erratic? That is not tactical." Marcus gave a weak smile. "Exactly. The Dominion won't expect it. They study your strategies, not ours. If their stealth ships hit the decoys instead of real targets, they'll break formation. When they lose formation, we hit them with everything: real ships, direct beams, whatever Australian can throw." Valera's eyes brightened. "This could work." The general looked unsure, but after a moment he bowed his head. Valera stood tall. "Prepare the decoys, prepare the defenses. We follow Marcus Hale's plan." Marcus felt his heart slam into his chest. "Wait, my plan? No pressure, right?" But the room was already moving. Officers rushed to stations. Alarm lights brightened. Energy cores hummed. Valera placed a hand on Marcus's arm. "You will guide us. I trust you." Those words hit him harder than any threat. Minutes later, he found himself on the palace war balcony, a command platform overlooking Australian skies. Giant windows revealed the glowing space beyond, where Australian ships began to gather like crystalline birds preparing to defend their home. Valera stood beside him, surrounded by her royal guards and advisors. The planet buzzed with rising energy. A soft voice echoed through the chamber. Zark ships detected. They are entering orbit. The sky darkened as strange shadows appeared, sharp, jagged silhouettes, glowing with red engines. The Dominion had arrived. Marcus swallowed. Okay. Here goes nothing. Launch the decoys. The Australian officer activated the command. In the sky, dozens of glowing ships shot outward in chaotic, unpredictable paths. They spun, darted, looped, nothing like the graceful movements Australians preferred. The Zark immediately reacted. Enemy vessels redirecting, the officer shouted. They are targeting the closest decoys. Marcus exhaled with relief. Good. Good. Now keep the real ships hidden behind the planet's upper energy field. The general nodded and gave the order. Outside, the Zark forces fired beams at the decoys. Explosions lit the sky. Their formation shifted, as Marcus predicted, messy, broken, confused. They tried to regroup but couldn't find the true targets. They're exposed, Marcus said. Now hit them. Australian capital ships burst from behind the energy field like streaks of blue light. Their beams shot across the sky, hitting the disorganized Zark vessels with precision. The battle lit up the heavens. Marcus watched in awe as the combined fleet executed the final phase of the plan. Humans planned chaos, Australians executed perfection. Together, it worked. Zark forces retreating, an officer cried. We've won. The room filled with relieved cheers. Guards clapped their hands against their armor. Advisors bowed to Viewership. General officers praised the strategy. Marcus just stood there, stunned. He had actually done something right. Something big. Something that saved lives. Viewership turned to him slowly, her expression soft with admiration. Marcus Hale, you helped defend my people today. You saved us. His cheeks turned red. I just tried not to ruin everything again. She stepped closer, the glow of victory in her eyes. You showed them something new. Something human. Australian owes you a great debt. The general approached and bowed deeply. Your strategy changed the battle. You have earned the respect of the Australian military. Marcus felt dizzy. I think I need to sit down. Viewership laughed softly, musical and kind. You may. But know this, Marcus, today you were not just an accidental companion. You were a hero. The sky outside shimmered with fading battle light. The threat was pushed back. For now, Australian was safe. And for the first time, Marcus no longer felt like a mistake in the middle of a crisis. He felt important, and the galaxy was beginning to notice. The celebration of victory should have brought a calm, joyful silence to Australian. But for Marcus Hale, peace felt like a thin sheet of glass, beautiful, but fragile enough to crack with one wrong move. The Zark Dominion had retreated, the threat had passed, and the palace was alive with bright lights and soft music. Yet Marcus's heart felt heavier than ever. He stood on a balcony overlooking the shining city, his hands resting on the cool crystal railing. Australian ships drifted above like glowing feathers. Crowds below celebrated the victory with harmless bursts of colorful light. Everyone was celebrating him too, the human who helped defend a foreign world. But Marcus wasn't celebrating, because now that the battle was over, reality had returned. He still needed to tell Princess Valeria the truth. He had never meant to court her, never meant to start a royal ceremony, and certainly never meant to become the center of political attention. The translator glitch created a disaster he didn't know how to fix, and the longer he stayed silent, the worse it would become. He leaned his head forward until it softly touched the railing. Why does this galaxy want me to suffer? Footsteps approached. He didn't need to turn to know who it was. Valeria stepped beside him, her presence calm and warm, like soft starlight at the edge of night. Her eyes shifted gently between blue and silver. She studied the sky for a moment before speaking. Marcus, you disappeared from the celebration. I worried you were unwell. I'm fine, he lied. She tilted her head. You are human. Humans say, I'm fine when they are not fine. He sighed softly. You're learning fast. She smiled faintly. But the smile faded when she noticed the heaviness in his expression. Tell me what troubles you. Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. He had run from this conversation long enough. The translator was fixed now. No more mistaken declarations. No more poetic vows he never intended. This time, his words would be real. He turned to face her, heart pounding. Princess Valera, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you from the start. She stepped closer, her glow dimming slightly. Australian sign of deep focus. Go on. Marcus took a deep breath. The things I said to you in the hall. Those poetic things. Those weren't mine. The translation device malfunctioned. It twisted my words. I never meant to start a courtship. It was an accident. Silence fell between them like a heavy curtain. Valera's eyes reflected the shifting lights of the city. For a moment she said nothing. And Marcus feared he had shattered something important. Finally, she spoke. Voice soft but steady. I know. Marcus blinked. You know? Yes, she said gently. I realized it after the battle. When the translators were repaired. The elders confirmed it. The language error was clear. Marcus felt his knees weaken. Then why? Why didn't you say anything? Valera looked out at the glowing city. Because what came after was real. You stayed. You tried to help my people. You protected us. You cared about what happened here, even when you were frightened. You stood beside me when you could have walked away. He opened his mouth, but she raised a gentle hand. I knew the vow was an accident, she continued. But the courage you showed was not. Marcus let out a shaky breath, unsure if he felt relieved or more confused. So, where does that leave us? Valera turned to him fully. Where do you want it to leave us? Marcus had never felt more unprepared for a question in his life. He stared at her. The princess who defended him, trusted him, believed in him when he doubted himself. She had protected him from political chaos. She had spoken on his behalf before the council. She had risked angering other empires. She had even gone to war, standing beside him. And somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, something shifted in his heart. Marcus swallowed. I want to be honest this time. Truly honest. May Axide. In his wand. May Axide. Valera's soft glow brightened. He stepped closer, not by accident, not because of tradition, not because of a broken machine, but by choice. When the translator twisted my words, he said quietly, it said things I never meant. But now I want to say something real. I want to say that I admire you. Your strength, your kindness. The way you protect your people. The way you trusted me when you had no reason to. She listened without blinking, her expression gentle and open. I didn't mean to court you, he said, voice steady. But now, if it's allowed, I'd like to try. For real. No misunderstanding. No accident. Just me. Valera's glow flickered softly like a heartbeat. She stepped closer, until their hands were nearly touching. You speak simply, she said, but your words feel true. Then she placed her hand lightly over his. Human Marcus. This time, I accept your vow. Not a false vow from a broken machine. A real one. Marcus felt the tension leave his body in a warm, overwhelming wave. He felt right. A gentle chime rang behind them as the city lights shifted. The door to the balcony opened, and the council elders entered, followed by human diplomats who had been watching from afar. One elder spoke. Marcus Hale. The princess has made her choice clear. Do you confirm this courtship with full awareness? Marcus nodded without hesitation. Yes, I do. The human ambassador smiled with relief. Well, At least this time it wasn't an accident. Valera squeezed Marcus's hand gently. From this moment forward, our bond is official. Not a diplomatic tool. Not a mistake. A partnership chosen by both. The council bowed. The human delegation cheered softly. And Marcus felt something he had not felt in a long time. Belonging. Australian tradition required a final ritual standing together before the city so the people could see their new bond. Marcus and Valera stepped forward onto a raised platform. When the lights shined down on them and the crowd saw them together, the entire city erupted in bright, colorful waves of celebration. Marcus glanced at Valera. So, this is real now. She smiled, her glow warm and soft. It has been real for a long time. You just needed to see it. Marcus laughed quietly. Guess I'm slow. Or human, she said kindly. He looked at the cheering Australians, the glowing sky, the ships, the lights, everything that had changed, because he accidentally flirted with an alien princess. Now he wasn't here by accident. He was here because he wanted to be. Princess Valera turned to him, eyes shining like starlight. Welcome to Australian, Marcus Hale. Welcome to your new beginning. And in that moment, Marcus knew something with complete certainty. Humanity wasn't just surviving in the galaxy anymore. Humanity was being chosen,